Good evening and welcome to the good news. I'm Rev B and I am filling in for Rev Breeze, who's off at the INTA conference. And so I am bringing you the good news today. The first one is kind of interesting. It's the world's first boat elevator. So, after more than a century of disuse, Scotland's old coal barge canals have been transformed into peaceful green arteries of recreation and bird life. And years ago, pack animals would walk along these shores with ropes attached to a barge and tug it along. And then, as of course, steam powered locomotives came, the canals fell into redundancy. So, part of the repurposing of the commercial canals across Europe, Scotland's are now a major tourist attraction, which is wonderful. So, the way that this came about is they actually have a giant rotating boat elevator to connect the Union and Forth of Clyde canals. So, known as the Falkirk Wheel, it was the world's first rotating boat lift. But its birth was twinned with a national cleanup effort, which between 1999 and 2003 hauled out, well, a whole bunch of junk. And they have now got this beautiful recreational site for people to enjoy. So, what a great story is that? And this one's fun. Things have been heating up around the world. This is a do it yourself swimming pool. A group of farmers found an epic way to keep cool by making their own swimming pool using hay bales. Jack Smith and his friends spent 4 days building their own pool so it was ready for the heat wave. They spent 2 days building the project using hay bales and hay bale wrap to create a pit, which they lined with tarps, and then 2 more days filling it with water. Good thing because Europe is sizzling under record breaking heat wave, and Britain, of course, is no exception. I heard the other day it topped over 100 degrees, which for Britain, sorry, that's crazy. But anyway, many countries are experiencing wildfires and are recommending that their citizens, especially the young and elderly, stay cool and don't take risks. So, DIY swimming sounds like a great way to start. And I came across this story the other day, forest bathing. This is a thing from Japan. The tradition of Shinrin Yoku, or forest bathing, is a national pastime in Japan, and it is believed to reduce stress and promote well being. Now, we know, especially over the last couple of years, stress has been a really big part of our everyday life, and it can really impact our body, our mind, and leads to depression, anxiety, and that harms the body. And the things that we teach is mind creates. So when we're stressed or anxious or all of this, we end up creating things that are really not good for us. So the goal of forest bathing is to live in the present moment while immersing your senses in the sights and sounds of the natural setting. So it's not about going for a hike, it's about being in the forest and feeling, the sun coming through the trees, and noticing the leaves and even the ground underneath your feet, and just all the beauty of being in the place. It's thought to be a way of practicing presence and really allowing yourself to be mindful. And of course, that's what we teach, is mindfulness. And so they invite you to spend a few moments observing your surroundings, sit and watch how the trees sway in the wind, or simply walk quietly, go at a leisurely pace, and maybe even go up to the trees and touch the bark and just feel the energy of this and the sun streaming through. It really is a powerful way of calming the body, the mind, and the soul, and coming into a place of, yes, a bit of rest. So, looking for moments of wonder. And an English mom has turned her entire living room wall into a photo montage. And this is to remind her family of happier times. With COVID and the lockdown and all the things that have been going on, a lot of people have been really harmed by some of what's happened. And Louise Wapshot, 46, wanted to celebrate decades of special memories the family had made together before the pandemic, and to remind them that better days are coming. And she spent 6 hours covering that entire wall with 700 black and white photos of special memories. But during the pandemic, it had been tough. Her 49-year-old husband, Martin, ended up in the ICU, and his father died at age 77 after catching COVID. So, with her children suffering with chronic fatigue and stuff since catching the virus, it's really been an opportunity for her to do something that would help to lift the spirits and just assist them in having a better quality of life, a nicer experience. And she says, I'm always capturing our fun times on camera, and COVID has reminded us of how short life can be and how quickly it can change. She goes on to say, I wanted to remind ourselves of all the amazing things we have done and look forward to making more memories. So, wow, what a great project. And one more very cool story, and then we're going to go to a commercial break. Nora Langdon, I love this story. Nora Langdon is a world champion powerlifter at 78 years young, holding 19 world records with personal records of 413 pounds in a squat, 381.4 pounds in the deadlift, and a 203.9 pound bench press. I don't think I could do 20 pounds. And if that wasn't already enough to get you off your bum and into your favorite workout, Langdon started when she was already 65. She was too out of shape to walk up the stairs in the house she was selling. And now she estimates they have 20 to 25 medals in her trophy room, and she's completed 25 sanctioned meets and won 23 of them. So for anybody who's a couch potato, might be time to get up off that couch and get inspired by this remarkable woman. And on that note, we'll just take a little commercial break, and we'll be right back with more good news.
New Thought Radio, positively inspiring tunes, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Listen anytime at ntmedia.org. New Thought Radio, positively inspiring.
Well, here's a very funny story. There's so many unique things going on in the world. So meet Annie. Annie is a 2-year-old alpaca. Now, she thinks she's a dog. She even travels around in their car that they bought especially because she could fit in it. So spoiled 2-year-old Annie the alpaca was rejected by her mom and had to be bottle fed every 2 hours by owner Danny Burns. And this strange story begins when Burns first bought 2 alpacas on a whim 14 years ago after losing his job. Described keeping them as an addiction, and has 10 staff on hand at the Alpaca Trekking Center in Sterling to look after them. Annie grew up living a luxurious life as a family pet and wanders around doing what she wants. So in the beginning, the father of 3, Danny, brought her with him everywhere he went, as Annie needed a strict feeding routine. She lives in a house in Sterling along with 3 dogs and 2 cats. Talk about a funny little story. And isn't that just a great shot? Her sitting there looking at the rug. All right. So speaking of animals, well, we got another one for you. An English family was left stunned when their dog escaped, only to return later that day with a ribbon won at a local dog show. How'd that happen? Peter and Paula Closier became sick with worry when their 5-year-old beagle Mix vanished on a Sunday morning. They called the police. The dog warden looked all over the house in West Sussex, and their neighbors also joined in the search for little Bonnie. When Peter saw that the gate had swung home open, he thought, oh no. So little did they know that John Wilmer had spotted Bonnie by the side of the road while he was on his way to a dog show in Surrey, where he was entering his own dogs. Well, soon after, the family's fears were eased when Paula spotted a Facebook post by John hoping to locate the pet's owners. He was running late for the dog show and asked, "Does anyone know this dog?" John then decided to enter Bonnie into the competition. He thought, well, I might as well put her into the best rescue dog category. And sure enough, she returned to her family with a third place ribbon. How's that? Sneaks out the yard and somehow gets put in the dog show. I think that's a very sweet and beautiful story. I like it. I like it a lot. All right, so white blood cells. Now we're getting into some science stuff here. White blood cells have been made into a kind of micro robot that can treat and prevent life threatening illnesses, right? This has been done in China. The tiny laser guided machines are made from white blood cells called neutrophils and are set, the scientists think, to revolutionize medicine. So, named Nutribots, they can deliver drugs to precise locations in the body after being directed by laser beams. How cool is that? Other devices developed to perform similar tasks contain synthetic materials, which in several instances have triggered serious immune responses and biological rejection. The neutrophil microcasts can be remotely activated by light and then navigated to the target position along a designated route. Wow. So, in experiments on the tails of zebrafish, the Chinese team used an incredibly impressive and precise laser called a scanning optical tweezer, SOTs, to perform 3 potential applications with the Nutribots. The SOTs point a highly focused beam to hold and move microscopic and submicroscopic particles in a manner similar to tweezers. So, when you're finished doing your brows, no, just kidding. And were used to help the Nutribots for cell therapy, targeted nanomedicine, and removal of debris or organic waste that can actually trigger disease. So they also found that they could carry payloads directly to a tumor, a blood clot, or infection. So Dr. Zhang said by integrating the non-invasive manipulation of optical tweezers and innate immunologic function of neutrophils, the proposed microcraft provides new insight for the construction of native medical microdevices for precision medicine. Wow. The microcraft can be activated or recovered in a controlled manner, and the migration is fully steerable, just like driving a vehicle. Wow. So the zebrafish have high blood circulation to their tails, allowing these neutrophils to be clearly identified through fluorescence labeling. So where's science going with this? It seems like there's something new every day, but this sounds really kind of cool. Imagine being able to move to wherever the challenge is, whatever the problem is. I love that. I think that's just amazing. Well, you know how sometimes we look at the young people in the world today and we think, oh no, what's the world come to? Well, I want to share a story with you about a 17-year-old teen in San Diego. And this young man found a purse that was left in a grocery store parking lot and decided to return it. Didn't expect anything in return, right? So he turned around. His name is Adrian Rodriguez. He found the green handbag in Ralph's parking lot in Chula Vista, California. And instead of bringing it inside the store, he decided to deliver it himself to the woman's front door. Now, the owner, Eliana Martin, wasn't there. The purse was left with the roommates, and the home surveillance video was later used to track down the high school graduate to show him some love. Isn't that awesome? So Melina says, I looked into the Ring camera and I was like, oh my God, he's such a young kid. We need to find him and give him a little piece of gratitude. So she and Mark posted this striking image on social media and found the young man who returned the bag, which contained 20 bucks and a wallet full of credit cards. So I'm sure she was really glad to get that back. Adrian says, my mom always told me since I was little to always do the right thing when nobody's around. I didn't expect nothing back, honestly. So here's the interesting thing, right? Is sometimes we'll do the right thing when people are watching, but this kid did the right thing when there was nobody there to check in. How beautiful is that? That gives me great hope for the world we live in. He said, if someone found my stuff, I'd want them to bring it back to me, said the humble youth. The good news didn't stop there. Marquez organized a GoFundMe campaign as a way for friends and admirers to reward his honesty. 764 donors sent money that totaled over $17,000. Wow. I bet every parent right now hopes that their children grow up to be just like this young man. Wow, what a great story, and what a great way to appreciate the kindness, the generosity that this young man, and the honesty and integrity. Like, that was beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I love that story. All right, get ready. Throw away your dental instruments. In a few years, you may just be throwing away that dental care kit, replacing it with a totally science fiction shape shifting robot that acts as a toothbrush, rinse, and dental floss in one. Don't you just love dental floss? Yeah. Yeah, this sounds good to me. The technology is poised to offer a new and automated way to perform the mundane but critical daily tasks of brushing and flossing for those who have difficulty doing so. Especially, think about amputees, disabled, quadriplegics, even the elderly. Like, this is really significant. The building blocks of these micro robots are iron oxide nanoparticles that have both catalytic and magnetic activity. So, using a magnetic field, researchers could direct their motion and configuration to form either bristle-like structures that sweep away plaque or elongated strings that can slip between the teeth like a length of floss. Cool. In both instances, a catalytic reaction drives the nanoparticles to produce antimicrobials that kill harmful oral bacteria on site. How good is that? Because we know that what's going on in our mouth can affect our heart and a bunch of other things too. So experiments using this system on mock and real human teeth showed that the robotic assemblies can conform to a variety of shapes to nearly eliminate sticky plaque that lead to cavities and gum disease. Developed by a multidisciplinary team at the University of Pennsylvania, their findings have established a proof of concept for the robotic system. Routine oral care is cumbersome and can pose challenges for many people, especially those who have a hard time doing this type of work. And we know you have to brush your teeth and floss your teeth and rinse your mouth. It's a multi-step process. And for some people, that would be difficult. The big innovation here is that the robotic system can do all three in a single, hands-free, automated way. I'm in. How about you? Nanoparticles can be shaped and controlled with magnetic fields in surprising ways. And he goes on to say that the design of the toothbrush has remained relatively unchanged for millennia. The team's innovation arose from a bit of serendipity. Research groups in both Penn Dental Medicine and Penn Engineering were interested in iron oxide nanoparticles, but for very different reasons. Ku's group was intrigued by the catalytic activity of the nanoparticles. They can activate hydrogen peroxide to release free radicals that can kill tooth decaying, causing bacteria and degrade dental plaque biofilms. Meanwhile, Steger and engineering colleagues were exploring these nanoparticles as building blocks of magnetically controlled microrobots. With support from the university, the Penn collaborators married the two applications in the current work, constructing a platform to electromagnetically control the microrobots, enabling them to adopt different configurations and release antimicrobials on site to effectively treat and clean teeth. Wow. Goodbye, toothbrush and dental floss. I'm in. All right. And now for some really sweet news. The World Health Organization recently celebrated Botswana for the groundbreaking achievement of stopping the transmission of HIV between moms and newborns. And we know that this has been a really big problem over these last, I don't know, what, 50, 60 years? The national program has reduced such occurrences from 40% to below 1% since it was launched 23 years ago. That's powerful, good news. Now, Botswana still struggles with high HIV infection rates, but in the country's central health district, just 4 babies have been born with HIV all year. And in 7 other health districts, there's been no such transmissions. That is super, super good news. This is a huge accomplishment for a country that has one of the most severe HIV epidemics in the world. Botswana demonstrates that an AIDS free generation is possible, says the WHO Regional Director for Africa. This groundbreaking milestone is a big step forward in ending AIDS on the continent. Now, globally, 15 countries have been certified for eliminating mother-to-child HIV transmission. None of them had an epidemic as large as Botswana. In 1999, the HIV prevalence rates was as high as 30%. The progression on prevention of mother-to-child transmission in this region is truly a public health success, with more than 1.7 million new infections in children averted since 2010. That's a lot. Pictured here, do we have the picture of Dora? Dora is a poultry farmer in the village of Soroi. I think that's correct. I'm not sure. My apologies. And she's HIV positive. When she was pregnant, she worried she would transmit the virus to her baby. She waited anxiously for the HIV test result, and she could not be happier when it came back negative. That is a story of a fortunate large number of mothers in the country now. The program is really rather simple. It encourages pregnant women to test for HIV and will put positive mothers immediately on antiretroviral therapy for the duration of the pregnancy. The newborn is also given the, it's a big word, the same therapy. For negative women, continue to be tested throughout the duration of their pregnancy, and Botswana is aiming to have an HIV AIDS-free generation by 2030. That is right around the corner. Like, how is that for brilliant, brilliant news? And I want to go on and say that, we look at these news stories, and I mean, look at her face. She is one happy mom. We look at her, we look at a world around us, and we know that there is so much good that we can do in the world. And the clarity of vision and purpose, intention really matters. And we know in this incredible universe that we have the ability to change our thinking and begin to change our world of experience. And so one of the stories that I've had recently, my personal story of healing, is that I went to a unity convention. I went there. I was using a walker and had extreme pain in my back. I was struggling with spinal stenosis. Halfway through, when I went, I thought, wait a minute, if Myrtle Fillmore could cure herself of tuberculosis in the 1800s with prayer, well, surely I can go there and have a healing too. So while I was at convention, on the 4th day of the convention, I used my walker to roll myself into the meeting hall. And at the end of it, I put it in my room and left it there. There's something that happened through the prayers, through the messaging, through the music that created a transformation. And I really believe that that intention of I'm done with this disability, I'm done with having this experience. And what's fascinating is from that moment onward, I have had no pain whatsoever. Now, this is a disorder that the doctors told me it's a lifelong thing, nothing can be done about it. And I was even considering the possibility of spinal surgery to try and alleviate some of the pain I was in. This teaching that we're in is really a gift and a blessing. And the more that we can focus on the good, the beautiful, the wonderful, the more we can turn our attention to that which is working in the world and around us, the more that we focus on the goodness, the beauty, the wonder of the people of our world, the more we do that, the more we begin to experience health and love and peace and joy across the board. My healing was merely a clear intention that had nothing to oppose it, right? Because sometimes we treat about things, but we have in the back of our mind, oh, it might not happen. I didn't have any of that. I was clear. I was having a healing. End of story. And when I came home from convention, my husband, I think he's still shaking his head going, holy man, I got my wife back. So this journey that we're on is one where we get to decide what's coming up and what's next. We get to choose what kind of life we want to live. And we do have the ability to really take our power back and live in a positive and productive and powerful way. And it's really important that we not focus on the problem, the negative, the difficulty, the pains in the world. Yes, there are pains in the world, but we begin to heal those as we begin to heal our own selves, as we choose love instead of judgment and criticism, as we move forward with joy. So I'm just really excited to be able to fill in for Reverend Robert tonight and to share some good news. There's a lot of good news in our world today. Yes, Wayne, you're right. And there's good in the world, and we all ought to have it. So I'm really grateful to have been able to stay here tonight, to be with you tonight. And I know Reverend Robert will be back next week to give you more good news. But in the meantime, live your best life, stand tall, be proud of who you are, love yourself so much that nothing can oppose the beauty, the wonder, and the magnificence that you already are. So it's been my joy, my pleasure. I'm Rev B, and my center is the Center for Spiritual Living on the Lake in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. And I hope to be back with you sometime real soon. Share the good news, be the light. God bless.
On behalf of everyone at New Thought Media Network, thank you for being a member of our virtual family. Your financial contributions help share the New Thought message with people from around the world. Please visit and contribute at www.ntmedia.org/donate. New Thought Media Network, come be you. And please like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, peace and blessings.